Hello, everyone. Dr. Ames here. This time I'd like to talk to you about the evolving roles of managers in the 21st century and how part of that role is empowering our employees. Um, as the demographics of the country change over time, and they certainly are, the typical manager is changing. Um, the stereotypical manager over time in America has been the Euro-American male, with the white male. Generally today, the most of the higher positions in corporations and organizations of all types are held by Euro-American white men, and it's of the baby boomer generational cohort. But the baby boomers are slowly fading away, um, and that is changing. So the demographic nature of the country changes, so too does the point of view and the things that shape the lives of the people who are in charge and make the rules and so forth. Today, we find less emphasis on an elite university or college degree, and we're more accepting of a degree from most any American college. If it's accredited, most of us just accept that we have a good, solid system of higher education and that we can trust those degrees and that the people who have them generally are going to be somewhat educated. We also see that today more women are in the workforce, and then, of course, naturally, there are more women managers than ever before. And we're seeing a change in how managers act in general. In fact, they tend to act more like facilitators than anything, much less than the supervisor that many people have as a stereotypical notion of what a manager ought to do. So, as you can see here, managers today are about working together with others, forming teams and so forth, and trying to be more inspirational rather than relying on just pure authority. So we collaborate and we use teams and task forces and so forth to get things done. We work together in the sense that we give a lot of training, but that includes support and motivation from the managerial staff in the form of just basic support. And we'll mentor employees as we need to and so forth. Because today employees do expect that they're going to get some sort of professional development. And they expect that in their job because they want to further their careers. And companies must respond to those needs. And so the best companies are certainly trying to find ways to engage those employees and indeed help them to grow. Um, and then we have to remember that the world is much more tightly controlled together and integrated than ever before. Um, our trade relationships and um, suppliers and partners who we work with are tending to be international, and this is a trend that is not going to reverse itself. One of the things that we do know today is that if we work more with our employees and more as a team, that we try and facilitate rather than just dictate, we have much more success and we're much more competitive in the workplace. And so here are just a few ways that we can really make that work. Managers today tend to give their employees enough independence to make informed decisions on their own about how best to please a customer or how best to proceed with a work process or something like that. Now, generally, we don't always use the word empowering. A lot of times, in management in particular, we use the term engagement rather than empowerment. But that's fine. For most people, these are interchangeable terms. But the notion is that organizations today are trending towards fewer levels of management. So that means flatter companies in general. And in such an environment, everybody has to do a little bit more. And if that's going to work, then you have to be able to communicate and work well with others. And that means you have to give up some of your work as a manager. You have to abandon old ideas. If I want to get it done right, I have to do it myself, and so forth. This just doesn't work in today's workplace. So we do things like we just do the acknowledgement that people have accomplished something. Tell your staff when they've accomplished a goal or you're very pleased with how things worked out. Acknowledge their contributions. Do it in small ways. This is a leadership style. There's no reason that you can't incorporate leadership traits into your managerial style. So acknowledge the actions of others. And when you set a standard, when you role model, you really are setting a standard, just role modeling by itself. But any standard that you set, you have to make sure that it applies to yourself as well. So challenge yourself, and then others will see that you rise to the challenge and they will try to emulate that. People will follow an inspirational leader. And so sometimes, even if you don't pull it off completely, so what? People will notice that you're trying and that you are attempting to be fair. So be trustworthy. Um, Being trustworthy actually is one of the most sought after traits of all in a leader. And if you want to engage with employees and empower them, they have to first have a level of trust with you. And so that means be reliable, do what you say you're going to do, and so forth. When we look at research on international traits that are most appreciated internationally around the world, that research says integrity and trustworthiness are at the top of the list almost always. So certainly it is something that if you do it yourself, it rubs off on people. And building bridges certainly is one way to get a lot of things done. Give lots of feedback. This is not exactly the same as acknowledging the actions of others, because sometimes it's not about saying, you did a great job there, or wow, that was a terrific effort, everyone. You're saying, the reason that we did this and so forth was for this and to achieve that. And just to let you know, upper management is very happy because we've achieved some goals and we're moving in the right direction. So feedback is about many things, not just about you saying great job and so forth. So at the end of the day, if you really want to communicate and develop those good, solid human relation skills, you're going to show people some respect. You're going to treat them with some human dignity. That doesn't mean that you lessen your authority. In fact, if anything, it makes you much more strong as a leader. Okay, folks, that's all I wanted to talk about this time. I'll talk to you again soon.